For the closing session, we're going to have Mr. Luengo, Managing Director, and then Javier Ferrer and Teresa Gutiérrez del Álamo from Asia House, and Javier Ferrer, Vice President of the Tripartite Foundation.
Bueno, yo creo que llevamos...
Well, it's been a long day, and we will be brief, I promise. To talk about conclusions after everything that's been said here would be slightly absurd or ambitious. I would say 3 or 4 countries have shown their experience here. Many things have been said, especially in this last session on the Spanish system. And I think that there are things that we are all trying to solve in a changing world, and it doesn't really matter how well or how badly different people are doing it. The fact of the matter is that we are all, in the next few years, going to have to change the way we do things, because as our speaker from India, Mr. Subramanian, said, the world of information, global information, is going to change everything. Asymmetry is disappearing, and what is true, and I think it's been said several times, and Alfonso has made an explicit question about this, and nobody seems to have replied, is how we must use that information. When you ask that question about how can we get ahead of the game, first of all, I would say we have to be humble. Nobody is a prophet. Well, there are prophets, but not most of us. Most of us are not prophets. We've got to keep a keen watch on what is going on. We've got to learn to use our observations. When I studied in the US, I was fascinated with those computers, with those systems that seemed to have all the answers. I had a teacher who said to me, carriage in, carriage out. Garbage in, garbage out. It's a famous American saying. As regards computers, if you put garbage in, garbage will come out. So if the questions are not right, the answers will not be right either. But we've got to try. Now, as you said, we've got the tools, we've got the professionals. We have got to overcome, we've got to go beyond this segmentation of society and look for a global solution and use information technologies. Another thing that has, I think has been made quite clear from the Korean presentation especially, is this issue or topic of vocational training. You have said something very interesting. The day an Indian, a Korean, a Spaniard, they're not worried whether their children study at the university or study a trade, that day things will have changed, because you might spend a huge amount of money on trades and vocational training. If you don't destigmatize vocational training, it will always look as if vocational training is the last refuge for people that are not so smart. Now, in Spain, we've got a huge amount of young people that ought to be doing vocational training. Why? We need them. That's what we need. And this has been a wonderful meeting. This has been, the organization has been excellent. The speakers have been extraordinary. And I have learnt a huge amount. Thank you very much to the Foundation. Well, Thank you, Teresa. Thank you to you all. I just wanted to be brief, but I wanted to say a few things. I want to be clear. In Spain, we have a good university system. Improvable, but it's good. We've got a good vocational training. Improvable, but good. And we used to have a good system for training for employment. And I think Alfonso has pointed out that we all wanted to renew it, to change it, and to do what the Italians called aggiornamento, and update it. And it was a good system because in 1992 we got together, the employers and the trade unions got together and created a system where we designed a policy, and in 1992 there were people on 200,000 workers were undergoing ongoing training, almost all of them in large companies, and 2 years ago we trained 5.5 million workers for employment, well trained, updated in new technologies. There was fraud, in my opinion, a small fraud, but very sort of a fraud that sort of had a lot of impact through the media, and that transformed the system. And now we've got a law that has not been approved by the social partners, and it has not been approved because the factors, the conditions that were introduced into that law were not appropriate and were based on saving face because of the problems that we had. Now, if the system is good, you've got to get rid of fraud and malpractice, but not destroy the system. Regulations now are so great and so many that the system has become more and more deteriorated, and there will be less workers trained this year than last year. And I hope that that law, which is going through Parliament, is adjusted and amended adequately. But I would like to say that in the future, I don't know when, the sooner the better, social dialogue will be considered once again fundamental. We should preserve it, because we've spoken about cultures of other countries, but the culture of Spain for many, many years, very successfully, has been social dialogue, not just in training, but in many other areas that are absolutely decisive for the economy of our country. We have been talking about countries, different cultures, different systems, employment systems, but we have in common our concern about quality, competitiveness, productivity, and all that is based largely on quality of the workforce, quality of human resources, and human capital and people that are working in companies. Adjustment to the needs of companies and new technologies, and not just companies and new technologies, but as was said in Korea, to the changing systems and changing economic philosophies of countries, which go beyond companies. The country goes from selling a lot to selling good stuff, goes from selling quantity to selling quality. And in that regard, I have to say once again that the participation of social partners is absolutely critical. I can assure you that when a company, a Japanese investing company from Japan, from India, from Korea, from North America, wherever from, there are many investors in Spain, multinationals. When they have to choose from Boston or from Dusseldorf or wherever, when they have to choose where they're going to locate, where they're going to manufacture their cars or whatever, one of the first things they look at, I can assure you, is the type of training that people have in that country, the quality of training, the quality of the universities and the training centers. And in Spain we have good stuff, but we've got to improve it. I haven't got anything more to say, just to say thank you to all of you. We've had a lot of people here, and I want to thank the ambassadors from Japan and India who were with us yesterday and today, and of course to the director and the Asia House, because without them we wouldn't have been able to organize this fascinating meeting, from which we have learned a lot. And I want to thank the speakers, and I want to thank everybody who has made a huge effort, the professionals here, the technical team, to make this a success. Thank you very much. See you next time. In this update, the aggiornamento, we've got to update our data. We have on Twitter 1,113,162 tweets or visits. This is an absolute record, together with the number of questions that have been asked and answered by Mr. Subramanian, who has been very kind to answer those questions, very patient, and also the other speakers. And we have had 239,200 followers. That is a huge amount of people. Many more than there are in this room. And I think that has to be pointed out. And I think that it's my duty and my pleasure to thank the personnel at the Foundation. Tell them that once again you have shown that I'm right when I say that you've got to be proud of this Foundation and its personnel, especially the international relations team, Ricardo. It's a one-man team, but there are many more people behind that. The International Relations Unit, the Dissemination Unit, the General Affairs Unit, and all the personnel at the Foundation. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. Thank you very much. Thank you to Asia House. Thank you. You have been there. You've organised this, and there's going to one of the media of this country is going to publish an article of mine in a few weeks, whose title will probably baffle some people. It's a style. It's a title that's made that's based. It's designed to attract the attention of the reader. But it's an article that says what I think about the Foundation. I think the Foundation should not change beyond the arithmetics of decisions. I think the Foundation will continue to be tripartite, and it is a total foundation, and it's a global and tripartite foundation. And I would not like this to be a mere bureaucratic machine. I would like it to be, as it has shown to be today, an open, transparent, active, proactive institution, and what's more important for me, a very pleasant institution. Thank you very much to you all. Thank you.